It is July 7th. I missed last week. We were on vacation, so didn't get around to doing this. Probably should have. I got this camera. One sec. I got this cool little camera. Um, this guy here. And the idea was that, well, I had some issues with this current camera when I switched PCs, and it turns out it was just because the internal settings were saying it was overheating, and I don't understand how. Like, it's not doing anything. So that was a weird change, but there's a setting to like disable the warning or whatever that was like an automatic shutdown. And the camera wasn't even really getting hot, so I don't understand. It might just be that the sensor's kind of going. But anyway, I bought that little camera to be able to replace this one in a pinch, and then I found the setting and I haven't had to use this little camera. So I could have returned it, but I figured it might be interesting to be able to have access to something that I can stream and sure I shouldn't say stream. I should be able to video because I don't know if I'm going to live stream with it necessarily on the go, right? So it's super small. The screen flips around, so you can take it out, and the actual screen, like you can look at yourself, right? So it might be kind of cool to be able to leverage that. I just haven't had a use for it yet, but I could have on vacation been able to do a little bit of content creation, but uh, it's vacation, I guess, so probably not warranted. I only think about like the drive being long or having some downtime, and it's like those are opportunities, right? Um, I do see the value in being able to like kind of do nothing, disconnect, and truly I did get some time to do that, which was awesome. So I was there with my wife. We brought our three dogs. We went down the Oregon coast. Very beautiful. So I don't like regret not bringing it, but I'm the kind of person where after a little bit of time doing nothing, which is very relaxing, but I get to the point where I'm like, I want to do, like, I want to create, I want to build, I want to do something. It's a hard thing to balance. It's kind of something I've struggled with for a very long time. But at the same time, I'm not saying like I have a pressure to do it either. It's like I enjoy doing it. It's the same reason I don't like watching TV. I want to like, if I sit down to watch something, it's like 5 minutes in. I'm like, okay, like what can I be doing? I need to do something. So like video games are actually, because it's interactive versus just watching, I am far more inclined to play a video game than to watch TV. Like I will never pick TV over a video game. But then even with video games, putting time into it, I'm like, I catch myself all like, could I be building something? Because I genuinely enjoy building something. It's like it's just a missed opportunity. So anyway, vacation was very good. So we went from having that vacation kind of over the Canada long weekend. Now my wife and I are both Canadian, but we live in the U.S. So we had a bit of a long weekend, like a 4 day weekend last weekend, and then this weekend was past Thursday was Independence Day, 4th of July. So Friday was very light for work. So it's almost like having two back-to-back 4 day weekends, which is awesome. Um, it's going to make this next week for work coming up feel like it's very long, and not because work sucks or something, just because you have two back-to-back long weekends. So it'll be good to get kind of back into work. Been going to the office Mondays and Wednesdays, which has been good. I had my first on-call rotation with work, but it was kind of weird because we have our China teams take over the primary shift for some of the holidays in the U.S., and we pay it back to them. So usually normal on call is like in North American time we'll be active, and then when it becomes our evening, our Chinese teams will take over, which is great. It's super awesome to be able to balance that. But there's a couple of times for holidays where we kind of make one team do a little bit more work. So they'll do like an overnighter, which, it makes it, sure, it's a little crappy at the time, but we all agree that it makes it better during holidays, because that way their holidays, the ones that don't overlap with ours, they can get the best out of it. They can go take vacation and not have to worry. So it's a good balance. But for me, it was a very busy on call shift, as in there was a lot of stuff going on, but I only had to do the backup part of my on call. And I got to work with one of my product managers who's absolutely awesome. He's very technical, so it's great that he can jump into stuff and like he knows what's going on. Not that I don't mean to say that as in other product managers don't, but I think the level of depth in his technical skills is above and beyond a lot of product managers that I see. So it feels very good that him being the primary. I know that as a backup, I don't have to worry too much, but we were very busy, so I was trying to jump in and help, just because he was getting overloaded with requests and stuff. It's funny because deployment, the team that I was on before, as a platform team, we get bombarded with things because something happens after deployment, and people go, "Hey, deployment team, can you help?" Right? They're not saying necessarily like, "Hey, deployment messed this up." It's just like that's the last signal they got, is like deployment happened, stuff's not working. And a lot of the time it's not deployment related. And this is very similar, where people would be like, because our team is responsible for routing traffic, right, requests and stuff like that. So a team would say like, "Hey, our routing is not working," or like the observed behavior is that the routing is not working. So is it us, or is it networking, or is it something they've misconfigured on their service? Like, it could be so many things. We have, like, even being on the other side from deployment now, it's like we had a couple of situations where there was routing I don't want to say misrouting. We were routing to, like, people were saying, "Hey, like the requests aren't working on these machines, like we're getting alerts for it." And then we would find out like that was new capacity, like it's not even ready to take traffic. So like there were some things going on there where it's like it's not related to us on the routing side. It's like there was something misconfigured where one of the teams was saying like, "Hey, this capacity can take traffic," and the reality is like it cannot. So like, was it breaking anything? No, but it was actually just causing alerts to happen. So teams were like, "Hey, we got to figure this out." And then once they realize it's new capacity, like it's not, there aren't even, like there isn't even user data there. Like, okay, like go figure out why that's happening. But there was a bunch of these cases where it had nothing to do with our team, which is very interesting, just to observe. It's a platform team kind of challenge. So it was good experience. I'm sure next time will be even more hectic, because when I do have to take my primary, that's the part that the China teams took over for me, was my primary part of my on-call. So I'll have another one in a couple weeks. But that's works some good. It's kind of crazy. We're already in July, and that'll mean in the next month or so I'll have performance conversations with my team, and um, yeah, it's the first time that I'll have to do that with people on this team, and it's a challenging time. It's like it's exciting because I think in situations where people are performing very well, it's like it's great to be able to demonstrate that to them. Um, but the reason it's like it makes me a little nervous is like this is the sort of the test for me as a manager, where if I'm having conversations about rewards and stuff with people, if they're surprised, that's an indication that I'm not doing a great job. And I've kind of talked about this before, but surprise can mean like if someone gets promoted and they're surprised, like I didn't know I was doing well. Like sure, the promotion will feel good, but it's an indication to me like I should have been doing a better job letting them know how they were tracking. Obviously, the inverse case is more obvious, like when someone's thinking they're doing well and they're not tracking as well. In reality, that's the most common kind of slip up, I guess, or opportunity as a manager to do better. So we'll see. But I'm excited and nervous. But it's a interesting time of year coming up. So that's probably all for work. BrandGhost stuff is a ton of momentum right now, which is sweet. One of the if I talk about the end to end flow, so a lot of the stuff that I do for content creation, I've had other systems built ad hoc over the past 18 months. Like when I started my content creation journey, I started systemizing it from day one because I want to scale it, and I realized that trying to do all this stuff manually does not scale at all. Like not in the slightest, especially as one person. Where this is not my full time job, so I was systemizing it the entire time, and now we're codifying it because a lot of the stuff that was built is like I said, ad hoc pieces connected together that help support getting content out across different platforms and stuff. So for an end-to-end flow, we wanted to make sure we could have users log in, obviously, to our website. They need to be able to authenticate with social media platforms, and there's a ton of them. I think I post to approximately like not quite 15 daily, but across the board. Like in a week, I will post to 15 different platforms. So we're not going to support all 15 out of the gate, but we want to make sure we have things like LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, like is a just need to have that. And we're going to start with text-based posts. And the way that we approach content is not you schedule. What have I got in my hair here? I got a fluff. Um, it's we don't approach scheduling for the week. Like there's other tools for that. If you want to go build a schedule for the week, you're welcome to do that. But BrandGhost is really about making sure that you have a content repository that you can keep putting out evergreen content constantly. So we make it so that you don't have to build the schedule. You set a cadence and you set the content and it will go. So if we start with text-based posts, like we can post technically to with like for example, my carousels that go to LinkedIn are through BrandGhost right now. We can post documents no problem. The technology is there to go post to the different social media platforms. Like I think right now, tech stack wise, we can post to Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, not Threads yet, but we're sort of that's the next thing to work on. There's a couple others where they're partway there, but the issue is like I as a developer, I can go in the code and I can go set up these streams of content that I want to create, no problem. It all works. But now we have to go build a UI so that other people can go do it. That's the tricky part. We have to make it understandable for them because it's not just a content scheduler. It's not paste in your text. You're going to pick this is going to go out on Tuesday and it's going to go to Facebook, like Buffer. And I'm not trying to diminish the value of those products. Like those are content schedulers. But we need to be able to tell people like you're going to post content that follows this type of shape. Now you're going to be able to create that content for this shape and it's going to go out to these platforms. So they have to understand what that means and we have to be able to articulate that clearly in a workflow. So that's the part where we're trying to bridge that gap now. And that's why some of the technical features that exist are not present in the user interface, if that makes sense. So authentication was a big challenge. OAuth is an absolute nightmare because there's a standard, but everyone seems to do it a little bit different. Configurations for things. So we do have end-to-end OAuth working with Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, like no problem. And that will mean we can start taking like people off our wait list and start kind of alpha testing with them. Now, my first pass is that I want to take one of our first individuals that I onboarded into a workflow that follows the BrandGhost idea, but is not built in BrandGhost. I'm going to port him over to that. And now when he goes to create new content, he can do it through BrandGhost. So I'm going to kind of alpha test with him because he's someone that when I've chatted with him in person, like he's not a tech content creator like what I'm doing. He's using it for his businesses and he understands the value of creating content for the businesses that he operates. And I'm not saying like he runs like a multi-million-dollar, I don't know, like just like consumer chain type of thing, but these are like businesses for like real estate, construction, anything like literally you could be selling your own products, anything like that. You need to have some type of brand marketing. Now, that might not be your primary channel that you've been using and you've been successful, and that's great. But if you want to be able to scale out digitally, you need to be able to have brand representation and create content for that. So he very much understands that because he was already doing it. And he's a friend of mine, and I was chatting with him, and I said, hey, if you focus on making evergreen content, I can make it such that you never have to worry about posting that stuff. Create it, and the more that you create, the more variety you have. And he absolutely gets the value. So it's kind of cool that he's, sticking it out with us as we kind of build this. And he has, I've talked about him before, but he has like several businesses that'll onboard with us. And if you're following along with BrandGhost, BrandGhost itself posts using BrandGhost. And my goal is that I will never, I shouldn't say never. I don't like saying never. Primarily, I don't plan to make posts on behalf of BrandGhost through BrandGhost. How do I say this? I'm not going to log into the LinkedIn website and post as BrandGhost aside from commenting. So everything that BrandGhost posts to the page will be scheduled through BrandGhost automatically. So that's my goal because I want to demonstrate that we can create content in that way and it will grow organically and have value. So it's kind of like dog fooding our own stuff. So I'm dog fooding it for my own brand, Dev Leader, dog fooding it for BrandGhost itself, and then we're onboarding clients. So that end-to-end flow for text-based posts, we're going to do that first. And again, it's not because the tech isn't there for videos and pictures. It's just because the user interface experience, like as soon as we get into posting media, we need to be able to make it intuitive. Like, where is that media? And we don't want to get in the business of hosting your media for now. So we need to make sure, do you have a URL to that media that we can download stuff? So we have to do that, make it obvious, because if the user experience feels like it's too complicated, people won't use it. And we come from a background where we have to take very complex workflows for people that need to do very advanced things. I have no knowledge about it. So we understand the importance of it, but getting it right is difficult. So that's what we'll be building next. But that's BrandGhost. Very excited, just like a lot of momentum right now. So that's cool. On Dev Leader side, I have doing a course. I'm going to dedicate a lot of time today. It's a Sunday. I'm going to dedicate a lot of time to doing course videos for Dome Train. That's course number 4. I have my first public speaking event coming up on the 23rd. So I'm going to fly out to Dallas. It's for Free Code Camp, sort of their local meetup. I did a poll to see if people wanted to see about plugin architecture or testing, kind of a good social experiment. As you might have guessed, more people want to see plugin stuff, but I think it was interesting to see too that people said testing would be valuable. Not as huge of a gap as I thought, like kind of like a 60-40 kind of thing for plugin architecture. So it's kind of cool. I'm going to create talks for both because I want to make, I'll make videos and I'll present them kind of the same way so you can see those talks. But that's cool. I've never done a speaking event. I'm nervous as heck, but that's okay. It's not gonna, it's one of those, I've learned now that like, am I afraid of it? Like, no. Is it uncomfortable? Sure. Cause I don't do it often. Just like I haven't, before making YouTube videos to get in front of a camera, that's awkward, right? Is it still awkward every time I go stream? Like, sure. Sure it is. Right? It's live. You have an audience. So is it awkward? Sure. But am I getting better at it, more comfortable? Absolutely. And I think the same thing's going to be the case with public speaking, right? So historically, I used to say I am bad at it. I'm afraid of it. And I need to stop saying that. So this is the first thing. Going to go do this event. It's not paid for or anything. I'm literally paying money to go fly there, to go get a hotel, to fly back, to not get paid to speak. But that's not the point. I want to go practice. I want to go share information. And I think it's going to be valuable. So that's kind of exciting. So that'll be the 23rd of July. It's coming up soon. And then on courses, I've mentioned this before, but I have one more course for Dome Train planned right after this one that I'm doing. And I have something else in the works that I'm very excited about, but I won't have more information until a couple more days from now. So maybe next update I'll be able to share more. And probably the only other thing worth mentioning is like still not writing blogs. It's been a couple months now with no blogs, but it's the return on the time is not there for me right now. But I've been doing more live streams. So I have now officially scheduled Tuesday mornings at 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. I will be doing a coding live stream. So the night before, the Monday night, will be software engineering in general. The next morning will be 2 hours of programming. So that'll be cool. Been focusing more on WPF stuff. It's been a trip down memory lane for sure. But it's kind of sucks. I wish I would have been not even live stream. Wish I would have started making YouTube videos a long time ago when I was building more WPF stuff, because there's so much that I could have covered, and now I'm like relearning it, and it kind of feels like I'm struggling going through it, but I'm like, I know I've built so many things in WPF, so that's like that's why it feels kind of crappy. It's like I know this stuff, but anyway, I think that's it. That's 20 minutes. Thanks for your support, and yeah, more updates to come. A lot of exciting things in motion. So enjoy your week. We'll see you next time. Take care.